So hello guys, and welcome to another first impressions video, or should I say second impressions, because I technically did an impressions video for the Pikmin 4 demo, but I've played Pikmin 4 for a longer amount of time now that the game is out, and I wanted to talk about it, because I'm really enjoying the game so far. Honestly, I'd go as far as to say it's becoming one of my favorite games of all time. Yeah, I know I've said that about a lot of games lately. Like, I mean, there's a lot of Nintendo games releasing, like Forgotten Land and Tears of the Kingdom, that I'd consider to be one of my favorite games of all time. But it just goes to show there are a lot of great games on the Switch when the games end up being really good. So, yeah, Pikmin 4, honestly, I'd have to say, it's basically the ultimate Pikmin game. There's just so many things packed into this, and it's just really enjoyable overall. It basically has the best of every Pikmin game. Like, it has a lot of the great features from Pikmin 1, obviously, basically the core concepts from Pikmin 1, and then from Pikmin 2, it pulls a lot from Pikmin 2, like the caves, and a lot of the gameplay loop is kind of based on 2, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. And then Pikmin 3, the quality of life updates and different things seem to be kind of based around 3, but then they even expanded it farther than that. Like, I feel like this honestly feels like the change between Pikmin 2 and Pikmin 3, going from Pikmin 3 to Pikmin 4, because they ended up changing a lot of things for the better between Pikmin 3 and Pikmin 4, which I really like. And yeah, I'm just really enjoying this game, and like I said, the gameplay loop seems to be kind of similar to Pikmin 2, because you explore both the general overworld as well as the caves, and this game actually does kind of address one of the nitpicks that I had with 2. I love Pikmin 2, it's definitely one of my favorites, almost tied with Pikmin 3, but one of my problems with Pikmin 2 was the fact that they didn't really balance out the amount of time you're spending between the caves and the overworld. It really felt like it was really just Pikmin the caves. That was like, the caves took up so much playtime. It really felt like the caves were kind of the main priority of the game and not much else. Because I actually did really enjoy the caves in Pikmin 2. I know they can be a bit divisive for some people, but I feel like they did take up too much of the game. Pikmin 2 did have some overworld exploration and overworld gameplay, but I feel like it didn't really have enough of it. But Pikmin 4, I feel like it balances things out very well. Like, I don't feel like you spend too much time in caves. You do spend a decent amount of time in caves, but it feels like enough. It doesn't feel like too much of the gameplay experience is within caves. I know I've only played the game for a few hours so far, but it really doesn't seem like caves are taking up too much of the game. Because the overworld is just so dynamic in general. Like I mentioned in the demo impressions, like there's a lot more verticality, there's a lot more space, there's a lot more freedom, there's a lot more things to do. It's not really linear, which is one of the problems that I had with Pikmin 3, even though I love Pikmin 3, I do feel like it was a little too linear. This is not linear at all. Like, I feel like it's almost like Pikmin 1 in with the overworld and everything. You're basically free to explore like any part as long as you have like the amount of resources, because there are like certain bridges and things in certain Pikmin types that you'll need to get over to certain places. But I never felt in this game that you're really confined to a certain path. Like, it really seems like you're open to go anywhere in this game, and I really appreciate that. That really kind of brings back a lot of what I loved about the original Pikmin. So, yeah, I just really like the structure of the world in general. It's just really nice how they laid it out, and another thing I like is the enemy variety. really like on both the overworld and the caves, there seems to be a lot of different enemies. Like, I definitely recognize a lot of them from the previous games, and it's cool that they brought a lot of them back. It almost feels like a celebration of the Pikmin series with the amount of, like, enemies they have here. And there's also some new ones as well, and also new variations of existing enemies, which is really cool to see as well. So, yeah, it's nice to have that variation there. I would say the combat is a bit on the easy side. At least kind of going through the first two areas. The third area does ramp up a little bit. Um, like I'd say like once you get to the third area, you won't really feel like the game is holding your hand too much. Um, I definitely respect the fact that this game is kind of aiming to be more open to a wider audience, which I think is great. I think it's great that this game is kind of getting more people into Pikmin. But yeah, it is a little bit of a nitpick I have that some of the enemies and the combat in general feels too easy. But I feel like once you get into the game and kind of encounter other, like, more difficult enemies, I'd say maybe the third area starts to have more, like, enemies that you'd kind of expect to see from the other Pikmin games, or I guess, like, other parts of, the previous areas might have some things, but you might have to get other Pikmin to access those areas. But yeah, I would say the difficulty, it is a bit on the easy side, but I don't mind it too much. It's still very fun. It doesn't really take away from the fun at all. Um, and yeah, there's also like the caves. I really like how the caves are laid out in this game. I feel like they're definitely a huge upgrade from Pikmin 2. I like the caves in Pikmin 2, but they were kind of like randomly generated, which I thought was a nice element. But I feel like some of the caves or some of the rooms in the caves sometimes felt hit or miss. Like the backgrounds weren't always like the most intricate. I mean, sometimes the caves looked pretty interesting. Like I think there's one like the shower room. I like the aesthetic of that in Pikmin 2. But yeah, I feel like the caves in Pikmin 2, they could be a bit janky at times, but I still enjoyed them. But Pikmin 4 just takes the caves to a whole new level. Like, I really feel like it fully fleshes out the concepts of caves. I think they are have like a pre-built layout, which I think is fine. Like Pikmin 2 had some of that, when you weren't going through like the randomly generated levels and everything. But the caves still kind of feel like how they felt in Pikmin 2. They just feel better designed this time and actually have like more puzzles involved and more things to do even. And they also look nicer as well. Each of them has like a different aesthetic. Like for example, one of them in the third area is kind of like themed around a resort, and then another one has like a very limited lighting. Like like if you don't have a certain upgrade, it will be like really dark and everything. And yeah, I just really like how the caves are, like, each of them seems to have some sort of gimmick to them. I know Pikmin 2 kind of had that for some of the caves, but I feel like Pikmin 4 kind of fully expands that concept. So yeah, the caves are great. I've only encountered a couple bosses so far, but I really like the bosses as well. They don't seem super easy, like they're not too mindlessly easy. I'm glad the bosses do like have some degree of difficulty to them. I mean, they are like pretty easy if you're comparing them to Pikmin 2, but they're still fun. Like they're difficult enough to where they still have some level of fun to them. But yeah, I really like the caves in Pikmin 4. Definitely an upgrade from Pikmin 2. And I really like how they carried over a lot of the aspects from Pikmin 2, like the little jingles and like a lot of the elements. You even have like the treasure finder that you had in Pikmin 2. It's kind of like a unlockable. And yeah, caves are great. And like I said with unlockables, that's another thing that I love about Pikmin 4. I really like the fact that there's a lot of like unlockable things, and I just think that's really cool in general how you can kind of unlock different upgrades. Some of them are things you've had in previous Pikmin games, like you actually have access to like multiple different things. Like I think there's like an upgrade for the charge, and then I think you can also get one for like swarming, and then you can get ones that have like other like um HUD elements, like I mentioned, like the treasure finder, and then one that shows how many idle Pikmin you have. And it's just really cool that you're able to do that, and you use these raw materials to kind of purchase these upgrades. And yeah, the raw materials mechanic I think is really cool and is definitely kind of an upgrade from Pikmin 3's bridge part system, because you can actually use the raw materials as bridge parts, so you kind of have to manage your resources. Like you can try to find the raw materials, try to get enough, and then use some of the raw materials for a bridge or save some of them for an upgrade. I just really like that system. And there's also the upgrade system with getting Pikmin and then finding like the onion things. I forgot what they're called. They're called like it's like something that like rhymes with garlic or something that you find in caves, and they basically expand the amount of Pikmin you can have. And I actually kind of like that mechanic. I kind of, even though you always, like in the previous games, were able to have 100 Pikmin, I kind of like the limitation because it kind of allows you to strategize a little more and kind of think about what you're gonna do, rather than just farming like an endless amount of Pikmin to solve your problems. I think it's cool that you're actually expanding your Pikmin count over time. So yeah, anyways, I'm really enjoying Pikmin 4, but there's one more thing I need to talk about, and I have a special guest. So yeah, let's talk about Dandori battles. So I'm here with my cousin Donovan, and now we're gonna talk about Dandori battles, since we were playing some of them earlier.
And Pikmin 4, and they're amazing.
Yeah, so basically, these are both in the main story, and they're also a thing you can select in the main menu, and it's kind of similar to the previous battle modes, but there's a little twist. So, each team has to get the most things into the onion using your Pikmin, and you can use one Pikmin type each time. So it was pretty fun. It was pretty crazy trying to avoid the different enemies or try to use the items on the other opponent. But what are your thoughts on the Dandori battles?
Well, I had some thoughts about it. I have some likes and dislikes. The likes are how you get to work together with your Pikmin and Ochi. What I don't like is how you can only use one variety of Pikmin every Dandori.
Yeah, I think it would be cool if you could use like multiple Pikmin types. But I do think it is interesting how you can kind of experiment with different types. Like we were trying out the purples, and then the rock Pikmin, and then the winged Pikmin. But it would be cool to kind of mix it up and have different Pikmin types. But yeah, it was cool when you select it from the menu, one person is the character that you make, and then the other person is Olimar. You were playing as Olimar, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, you could also use Ochi in there, and yeah, it was really fun. I really enjoyed Dandori battles. So anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to check out my Discord server, and make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. Goodbye!
We also can't forget about the Ice Pikmin.